Hello and welcome. In this video, we are going to try and get our form to start capturing data from text input. So this is what we're trying to achieve, so that when you enter some text in here and click on the add button, we want the form, this here area here, to be able to capture the text that is entered. So in order to achieve that, we need to go into the views.py file. We need to create a new view. So I'm going to create a new view that will capture the data that is added from the form. And I'm going to call the view add to do item. So to create the view, type in def space, and I'm going to call it add to do item. That's going to be the name of my view, and I'm going to pass in, it's going to take in a request. Next thing I'm going to do is create an instance of the form to capture the data that is passed through the form via the post method. So if we take a look at the index.html here, if we look at the form, we can see here the method is post. So normally when you post data using a form, you have to specify the method. Here we have specified post. That's what I'm referring to here. So let me create an instance of the form to capture the data that is entered into the form. So I type in form equals to do list form, which is this form here, and then I am going to pass in the request dot post, because post is the method by which the form will capture the data. So whatever text is entered into the to-do list form here will be captured. So once the text has been entered via the form, we want to at some point redirect back to the index template. So to do that, we'll type in return, and then we type in redirect, and we pass in the index template because that's where we want to redirect to. All right, we have reference redirect here, so we need to add it to the top. So here what we've got from Django.shortcuts input render, we're just going to put comma and then just add the redirect so that we can use it. So once the text has been entered via the form, the redirect will manually refresh the page by redirecting it to the index template. We want the form this form here to be able to allow post request. So in order to ensure that, we need to add a decorator at the top here. So where we've got our inputs here, I'm just going to tap down and add a decorator. So I'll do from Django.views decorators. This will allow only post requests to be accepted. So do http dot import. So decorators.http space, type in the word import and then require underscore post. Make sure you put that way it will ensure that post requests are accepted. And now we need to add the decorator to the top of this function, this to do function, this add to do item function. So to add the decorator, we do the @ and we type in require, make it in lowercase, require. Okay. And then you type in underscore post. All right, so make sure you've got that added to the top of this function here, this view called add to do item. Don't forget to, when you create views, you always have to add the semicolon there. Don't forget to add that. All right, it's very important. So that's the view, new view I've created, and I've instantiated the form here. So any text entered through the form will be captured using the post method. And then we're refreshing the page by adding a redirect, which will redirect back to the index template. What we need to do, we need to add a URL pattern for this add to do item. So to do that, if we just go into our URL files, I'm just going to click explore and then open this urls.py. So you can see the urls.py file here. So we're going to add another path. What I'm going to do, just copy this path and then just modify it. So just going to tab down and paste. All right, so the name of the path, I'm going to call it add. Okay, and it's going to be views dot, and the name of the function is called add to do item. And I'll give it a name of add so that I can reference it in the template. All right, so now that we've added the path, just file and save all. Let's go back into our views. Also make sure you save all the work you've done in the views. So now that we've added a URL path, we need to go into our index template and reference it. So if we look in the index template here, we have a dummy path which we now need to add. So if we look where the input, the form input is, there should be a place where the URL is specified. So if we take a look at the form, every form we have a form action and the method. The method is post. So in the form action here, we've got a dummy URL part. So now that we've got a real URL part, we can add that. So we take off the dummy bit. So to add the actual URL path, we just add a curly brace, and inside the curly brace we do a %, and then we do a space, type in URL, you do a space, and then we add the reference to the path, which is add. You do a space and then add the closing %, and then you close that. Make sure your quotes are matching. So you can see I've got a single quote here and need to close that with a single quote. So after the action, we've got the double quote beginning, and then we've got the double quote at the end. So make sure all your quotes match up, the single and the double. So now when the text is posted, we now know it's going to go to this URL. So we do file and we do save all. To test that the form works, we want to be able to print it to the console. So to do that, I'm just going to tab down before the return here. I'm going to add a print function here, and inside the print function, I'm going to take in the request dot post. So any text that's entered, and inside the request.post, inside the post, I am going to reference the text. So you do a single quote and then type in text. So what that means is that any text input that is entered via the form will be printed to the console. So this is just to test to see that the form is able to capture data. So click File and click Save All. So before we test our form, there's a couple of things I had to amend. Inside the views, okay, inside the views and inside the view function where we've got the add to do item, you can see here inside the print, the text here should be lowercase. So I previously had it as uppercase. So make sure this text here is lowercase because that's the text that's going to be captured from the form input. So make sure that is in lowercase. And then if we go into the urls.py file, make sure you've got a comma between each part. So after the first part, add a comma and then you add this one. So if I'm going to add another path again, I'll add a comma. So you always have to separate each path with a comma apart from the very last one. Okay, so those were the only two modifications, adding a comma here and then in the views.py changing the inside the print function, changing the post to this text here to lowercase. So once you've got that change, save it, and then we should be able to go to the form and type in some text, and that whatever we type in should be captured in the console. All right, so we have our form here. So let's say I want to enter a text. So let me enter a text, say grocery shopping. Let's assume I've entered this text and I'll click add. Now if I go into my text, you should see the text I've just added, which is grocery shopping. All right, the fact that I'm able to see that here, which indicates that our form is working and it is capturing data. So the data that has been entered via the form is printed on the screen using this print function here. That's why we're able to see it. So let me add another one here. So let's say add this coding for beginners, add that, and you can see here it showed up inside my console. So this proves that the form is able to, the data entered by the form is being captured. In this video, we were able to get our form to work by capturing the data that has been entered into the form. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.